Hello and welcome back to another tier list video. Last time I ranked the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. This time I am going to rank the Diary of a Wimpy Kid characters. Let's begin. Okay, so coming up at F tier as my least favorite character in the series, I have Patty. I hate Patty. She was so annoying in the first book, and I don't think she was in any other books than the first and a little in the third. The thing with Patty is that she hates Greg for no reason. Greg is just a regular guy that's living his life as a teenager, going to middle school, and then we have people like Patty just trying to be the best girl in the class. She is just so annoying, and I can't stand her. I think Jeff Kenny understood that the fans didn't like her because he didn't add her in any of the future books after the third one, The Last Straw. The next character I have in F tier is Fregley. The reason I am putting him in the bottom tier is because he's so disgusting, man. Like, I know that a lot of fans like him, but I am not one of them. I think he's disgusting and annoying, and he's just trying to be funny. I know that Fregley had his moments in, for example, the hard luck, but I still think he is pretty annoying, and that's why I put him in F tier. But he's still better than Patty though. Okay, starting with E tier, I got Rowley's mom, Mrs. Jefferson. I don't know what to say about her. Like, she's not so much in the series, and she's not doing anything special when she's in a book. So the only reason I put her so low is because she has like almost nothing to give. Okay, the next one is Greg's grandma. I don't remember her name, but I remember that the grandma was like, how can I say it? She helped Greg sometimes, and sometimes she got mad of him because he didn't do the job for her sometimes. But the grandma was fine, I guess. Like, she didn't do so much. She was not in so many books. She was like most in the start, the first books, and then the writer just like removed her afterwards. Yeah, the grandma is the mother of Susan Heffley, which is Greg's mom. Anyway, let's go to D tier. Okay, D tier. The first character I got in D tier is Holly Hills. Now, Holly Hills is complicated. Greg had a crush on her in the last draw, and it didn't go well. He didn't get her, and Holly just moved forward. She mistaked Greg as Fregley. She thought Greg was Fregley in the end of the book. But anyway, so Holly, I think she could be better. She's for sure better in the movies, and I think the writer should have done a better job with her. Now, as the best character in D tier, it was just 2, but still the best character in D tier, I got Greg's mom, Susan Heffley. I don't have anything against her, but she can be a little too much sometimes, you know? Or not just too little, she can be too much many times throughout the books. She's like the classic mom that everyone knows that wants to protect Greg in all ways. But other than that, she's fine. She's funny sometimes, and I mean, Sweetie loved her, the dog. But the mom is still the character I like the least of the family. Okay, now we get to the good characters. In C tier, I have Chirag. Now, Chirag was not in so many books. He was in the first one, he was in the second one. I don't think he actually was in the third one. I know he was in the fourth, the fifth, and 6th. And he played the biggest role in the second one because, like, Greg and his classmates in school pretended that Chirag was still in India because the family moved to India and then came back. And that's what the fans remember him from. He didn't do anything in the other books that he was in. He just played a kinda big role in the second one. And after that, he was just like a guest character on the side that actually didn't matter. But he was cool. He had some fun lines. I liked Chirag in the movies, so I'm going to give him that. And that's why he's a decent character for me. So I'm putting him in C tier. Okay, as the best character in C tier, I got the pig. The pig that the family got in the long haul, which is my favorite book, by the way. If you saw my last video where I ranked the book, you know that. So where do I start? Yeah, so we first get to see the pig in the 9th book, which was the long haul, where Manny wins him by guessing the correct weight of a pig, and he's just chaos, man. The pig is just chaos here and there and everywhere. He was also in 10th book where he got pants, which was weird. And the 11th book he didn't do so much, but he was in there, I think. I don't remember. 12th book he was not there because the family traveled to an island, Corolla de Isles. 13 and 14 he was like just a gangster who played around, so but the pig was funny, man. I like him. He was funny. So yeah, but I liked the dog Sweetie a little more, and that's the character we are going to get to next. Now, B tier. Sweetie, the dog. We first get to see this character in Diary of a Wimpy Kid Dog Days. Frank, the dad, get to know from his dad, Greg's grandpa, that his dog, okay, sorry, I don't want to confuse you. Frank is Greg's dad, and Frank got to know that his dog died when he was young. So Frank, I'm just going to say Frank so you know who I'm talking about, went out to buy a dog to the family. Now the dog was also chaos. Not as much chaos as the pig, but the dog was a pain for Greg. And the only family member that the dog actually liked was the mom. And that was kind of funny because Frank loved the dog, and he got very sad when they had to give him to the grandma in the end of the Dog Days. Sweetie is my favorite animal character in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. So that's why I'm putting him in B tier. He's not one of the best characters. There are better characters out there. That's why he is not in S or A. Mr. Jefferson. Mr. Jefferson. Mr. Jefferson. So if you didn't know, Mr. Jefferson is Rowley Jefferson's dad. And his dad doesn't have so good relationship to Greg. I don't think he has smiled to Greg one time throughout the books. So the dad, like Rowley's dad, he is in all the books without the traveling ones, which is The Long Haul and The Getaway. His personality is being the mean dad who hates his son's best friend. Like, Greg used to do a lot of funny pranks on Rowley's dad, and Rowley sometimes joined him. And yeah, Mr. Jefferson got very mad. Sometimes Greg was banned from the house, and let's not forget what happened in Dog Days when Rowley and Greg was like a member. No, Rowley's family was a member of a club, and Greg joined, and they used a lot of money on smoothies. And then Mr. Jefferson got a check, and Greg and Rowley had to pay the check. They got a job, and yeah. I'm not going to spoil the whole Dog Days. If you want to know more about Dog Days, just check my last video where I talk about all the books. And yeah, let's go to the next character, which is Greg's best friend, Rowley Jefferson. Rowley Jefferson, Greg's best friend from book 1. So, the reason I don't put Rowley in S tier with Greg is because he can be a little annoying sometimes. Don't take me wrong, Rowley is much better than Fregley and Patty, but Rowley can be like a little annoying sometimes. He's funny, I can agree to that. All fans agree, like all the real fans who likes Rowley thinks he's very funny. I can agree that Rowley is funny sometimes. He's not funny all the times. He's like trying to act cool sometimes. But yeah, Greg is also sometimes a bad friend to Rowley, but well, I still think Greg is better than Rowley, just because I like more Greg's personality. He's like ironic and Greg is funny. Now, I think if the writer made Rowley a little less childish, he would be one of the best characters. Okay, the grandpa, the one and only. The grandpa is my 5th favorite character in this whole book series. The grandpa is in a lot of books. I remember that he's in the 2nd one. He is also in the 5th because they had the family meetup thing. Grandpa is also playing a pretty huge role in the 10th book, Old School. Now, the thing with the grandpa is that he can be a little too much sometimes, and he's very boomer. Now, it's not a bad thing to be boomer, but I just think the grandpa is a little too boomer. Like when Greg and Roderick is at daycare for old people, when they're visiting him, the grandpa is just watching the security camera. That's like his entertainment on the television. And he is playing very old board games, and he's making this pretty bad salad that Greg hates, and I don't know. I didn't like him so much in the 2nd one, but I think the grandpa was actually the funniest character in Old School. I can give him that. He was a gangster, man. He just played around and picked up women at his age, and he was a legend in Old School for sure. Now we are on A tier. Manny, Greg's little brother. Okay, so the next 4 characters are my favorite characters. They are characters that I enjoyed throughout the whole series, and they are also playing the biggest roles. Manny was a little sneaky little brother who played games with everyone, and his big moves was in Cabin Fever, when he turned off the electricity in the house, and the rest of the family almost starved to death because they didn't have any food. The refrigerator was not working. They didn't have warm in the house. He was sneaking around throughout. Like sometimes he didn't do so much in some of the books. Like the book I remember him most from is Cabin Fever, and he didn't play so big role in the last books. I remember that in The Getaway, Manny picked up a lot of sea creatures. Manny can be a little annoying sometimes, but he's fine. He's for sure not one of the worst characters, but he is not top 3. Okay, now we got to Roderick, Greg's big brother. He is a freaking legend. The reason Roderick is my 3rd favorite character of all the characters in the franchise is because he's like this mean gangster, but at the same time wanna play cool big brother. He's the perfect personality character big brother that I've seen in my whole life. Jeff Kinney really did a good job with this character, and I appreciate it very much. Roderick's best moments were in the 2nd book, The Roderick Rules, of course. That was his book. And Roderick Rules was also one of my favorite books. If you saw my last video, you know that there are many books that I like more than Roderick Rules, but I still loved the book. Roderick Rules was still a very good book, so nothing more to say that than that Roderick was a very cool character that I respected. Okay, my second favorite character is Greg's dad, Frank. Now, Frank didn't play such a huge role in all the books without The Last Straw. The Last Straw was his book. I think Frank did a good job with being the main character in the book. I like the idea of Frank trying to make a man out of Greg. As I said when I ranked The Last Straw in the last video. Frank is a very cool dad, and I love like his reactions to Greg's mom when sometimes the mom is telling him to do things and he's like, "Can I do it later, please?" So I think the dad is very cool. I really liked him, and I think he is also a very underrated character. He deserves more love. My favorite character is the one and only Greg Heffley, the guy who writes all these books. Or, in fact, Jeff Kinney is writing all the books, but in the books, it's Greg who writes all these diary books. Now, Greg is perfect for the job. His personality is amazing. I love Greg's reactions, I love his moments, I love his interactions with other characters, and he is so good in all the books. I can't come up with one book that he was not so good in. Jeff introduces Greg in the first book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and the first thing that happens in the book is that Greg is telling us that he wants to be famous. Greg is so funny. One little bad thing with Greg is that he's mean to Rowley sometimes and some of the other characters, but that's what makes him the character he is. Like, if he wasn't critical to Rowley sometimes, he would like lost a little personality, and I think Jeff Kinney made Greg perfect as the character is. I wouldn't change anything with Greg. Now, the main reason why Greg is my favorite character in the whole series is because I can relate to him. I can relate to Greg, that he has all these challenges with school, with family, with love. I can relate to that. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe, and tell me in the comments who your favorite character is and why. See you on the next tier list video.